Cloud9 because they have known, they know this team very well, and they've known what they need to change and what they need to attack.
Exactly. When you have 7 games on record against them, you've got more than just that very small sample size to say, well, you know, mid lane might have ran away with it in those couple of games, but is that really the problem? 7 games is enough time to learn some problems, to take some notes, to get some new plans out there onto the drawing board. So let's see what they got. C9 are going to be playing from blue side because Sentinels has elected for last pick here in game number 1. Varus, Rumble, Karma banned out by C9. As we can see the other side, it's the Azir, the Nocturne, and the Ziggs banned away by Sentinels. The respect towards APA.
And I was going to say, so the biggest thing that is up, obviously, is the Orianna that is left, and so this gets snapped up pretty quickly here by APA and Cloud9. No surprise there. But usually, when you're giving up the early Orianna, teams will try and attack it with something that can, you know, either put pressure on side lanes like Akali, you know, types of kill pressure, or at the very least, punish low mobility carries. Jarvan is #1 at that for junglers. Cataclysm, obviously, extremely valuable here. You can get flashes very easily, and then you can punish when they don't have flashes. So Sentinels already, you know, pretty kind of expected here. And I like the answers already. You know, Orianna open, so they go Jarvan AShe into it, get some bot lane priority, get some hawk shots to track Blaber, track the enemy jungle, because Blaber has been a huge part, by the way, of the Cloud9 victories over Sentinels.
And being able to track him, especially when he's on a champion that has a semi-global ultimate like the Pantheon, that only becomes that much more important. And if you want it to be even double important, well, he's got Vulcan's Bard, who's going to be roaming around with him, also trying to set up those plays with the Tempered Fates. So we've got, out of our first 6 champions picked, 3 of them have semi-global ultimates, with 1 being on at least each team. So lots of playmaking potential here, and no surprise, since AShe was the AD carry pick for Sentinels, the support to go with it is Seraphine.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of AShe Seraphine bottom lane, but I still feel like these power picks that Cloud9 have gotten early on in the draft are very, very good. And as you're highlighting, kind of work well together, you know, for later in the game too. So we'll see how they round out their bottom lane. You know, going against AShe Seraphine here is always a big question mark. And so they're going to protection ban, take that Caitlyn away, the sieging potential, and the pairing there with Bard. Meanwhile, the mid lane is left open, so DARKWINGS gonna have to get chopped down a little bit here. Top of the tier list, obviously, is Ryze, but, you know, you could try and do something like Talia option for Sentinels for DARKWINGS if you especially will find extra high value since it's a fearless series and you take that away from APA. It's like by far his most played. I think a lot of people consider it his best champion besides the Ziggs.
Ziggs kind of doesn't count. He only ever gets to play it 1 out of 20 games.
Yeah, exactly. As you can see, it was their first ban.
Yep, they certainly did not want that one in the mix.
But okay, this is a good route too. You know, large AoE, large defensive option here. If they do lock the Galio versus Orianna, it's not one of those lanes, of course, that is going to be, you know, winning the lane by itself. But it does have gank set up, and if you get Jarvan ganks, you can still put pressure on Orianna if you have jungler intervention. But for the most part, you're looking at the big team fight for Sentinels.
Yep, but over on Cloud9's side, I am going to give a -point for this one. I can pull out my wallet and show you I am a card-carrying member of the Jhin Haters Club. I've got...
I think you may be one of the first 2 or 3 people to join that club.
I'm a founding father of the club. Yeah, it's a club that I find myself frequently having to go to multiple meetings a week for, because this is just a pick that I feel like a lot of times doesn't end up bringing the amount of firepower that you need, but hey, it can contribute to fights from a very long way away. You've also got a lot of damage between things like Pantheon, like Orianna. If Thanatos gets ahead on Gnar, which we know he can do, that can also put so much pressure in the fights. And the final answer over on the Sentinels side, they are going to pick Yorick for impact.
Yeah. All right. I mean, the Yorick is a good pick into the Gnar, good for some side laning here. And it does give some options. You know, you have Ashe Arrow engage, Galio and Jarvan combination for just massive team fight again for Sentinels for their engage. Even if you do a 4-1 split push and you have the Yorick off split pushing, your 4-person core there has quite a few options. And Yeah, we'll see. Honestly, I think the Jhin in this time around, you know, the lane, it gives you options for the lane, and then a lot of playmaking off of Blaber's Pantheon here. So there's a lot of CC to offer, so much pick potential. When you have Jhin and Bard lane, the range of your bottom lane,
it's huge.
Pick potential is just incredible. So see how many plays they can cook up.
And you mentioned earlier how Blaber has been so important for C9 in their wins over Sentinels thus far, but I think that HamBak has also been a standout player on this Sentinels roster from the performances we've seen in 2026. So this is kind of, to me, the battle of the heavyweight junglers here to see which one of these guys can get more active early, because especially when you have a matchup like Jarvan versus Pantheon, you know that both of these guys can really terrorize the Rift super early on.
Definitely can, and we saw how impressive jungle invades can be. And the jungle swings in the previous series and games were quite huge. So early wards tell a lot. I like that. You know, defensive red ward here from Sentinels leading up towards the Raptors. As they see the info here, Blaber did go for his Raptor ward there as well. So he's going to have the kind of early information.
Okay, so the thing that I'm a little bit concerned about here, and I know that every time I cast with a Zale, he always brings this up. When you put impact on a champion that really wants to have a lot of individual side lane pressure, Impact historically is a player who is willing to sacrifice for the team. He's willing to take personal loss to guarantee that they can accomplish a team fight or an objective or something else. But there's times when he's on these split push champions, he's on these champions that need to play more selfishly, and he's not selfish enough. And Yorick, to me, is one of the most you've-got-to-be selfish champions in the game. He lives for the side lane. He needs to have that split push pressure. And I want to see if Impact can stand up and make that happen, because you can see right now, week 1, here's the stats between Impact and Thanatos, and it's pretty night and day.
It definitely is. The people would often think, you know, coming into this matchup, you're like, oh, what is the lane that over these 7 games between Sentinels and Cloud9 has actually had the average of the biggest goal difference in the first 14 minutes, you know, the lane phase flowers?
You're going to tell me it's top lane?
Which one would you guess? You would guess top?
I'm going to guess top lane.
I would like to inform you that it's actually, that's not even in the top 2 goal differences. Oh, as we have an early flash. Is it mid lane?
Because that can make a goal difference if Annie doesn't have a flash at 2 minutes into the game.
It hasn't been mid lane either. It's actually been AD carry, and as I said, Blaber as well. So top 2, you know, so far this year. The goal differences have been a lot for AD carry here.
Oh, nice combo there with the spell. Zven has to flash away. This is the power of the Ashe Seraphine, man. This lane is so oppressive.
Yeah, it certainly is, and that is really going to hinder the early game of Cloud9. No flash mid, no flash bottom either, so very vulnerable to ganks now. This Jarvan has a lot of options, and HamBak, you are kind of highlighting, has been very, very impressive for Sentinels. He's a very active player. His mechanics have been quite good, and so when he can sync up with the rest of the squad, which, you know, they have been working on their communication a lot. It actually started out as mostly communicating in Korean, and then has transitioned more and more towards English to help out DARKWINGS and help out the HamBak DARKWINGS synergy. Unfortunately, the pet got tired and didn't want to finish off the crab, so HamBak's going to have to go back and you know, just an extra second there over there, but is going to be a highlight here with both APA and Zven, the 2 big carries here for Cloud9, not having flashes. You're definitely usually looking at jungle to try and make something happen there during those timers, that 5 minutes that they should be without, especially since you have good setup.
Yeah, and you were talking about back in draft when you see the Orianna locked before we even had the Jhin locked in on the Cloud9 side. Jarvan loves these immobile carries. This is what Cataclysm was built for. Jarvan goes up against something like Ezreal or Akali, he's really sad. Up against Orianna and Jhin, he's the king. He's Jarvan 5 at that point. This is exactly the type of opportunity you want to set up for that jungler, and we'll see how much they can get done with it. APA versus DARKWINGS back here in the mid lane. Still pretty much a dead even lane state all across the board. Nobody has pulled out 2 big individual advantages just yet. We're going to need to see those punishes you're talking about on the flashes if Sentinels want to get the dividends on those early investments, and we'll see Blaber just clear out that ward that was placed there to keep an eye on his chicken camp. We saw a lot of chicken camp focus in the previous series. We know that that is also one that Blaber is willing to fight for, but right now just clearing his own.
Yeah, there's a couple of reasons why junglers focus on chicken camps just, you know, holistically.
Taste the best.
Yeah, well, one, does taste the best. I agree. The second is that it is one of the easiest to clear because most junglers have large AoE, and so you can steal it real quick. But also, its position on the map, being central, being by mid lane, keeps you open for a lot of choices, a lot of options, and mid lane matchups as well help so much. But the Hawkshot was another thing we're mentioning, another tool in the tool belt here for Sentinels. And they're going to see, wait a second, Blaber didn't clear his Gromp. Maybe they should alert, hey, Impact, play safe. We are taking Dragon right now, and we know Blaber's not farming. So if he's not farming, he's probably looking to kill somebody.
Yeah, and he's being a little patient up here. Impact is going to go ahead and pull it back, though. He smells something's wrong.
Yeah, it's good communication. Good information gathering and comms here to make sure they don't give Blaber that opportunity. So I like the safe play from Sentinels. A lot of times, Flowers, the big hero plays, they don't always show up on the scoreboard.
Sometimes the hero goes home.
Yeah, exactly.
just like, no, I'm good for now.
Yeah, you didn't give Blaber a kill. Didn't give him a gank opportunity, and they got the Dragon. So Dragon stacking, very critical when you do have a team like this that has some decent team fighting. Impact goes down to place the ward and
immediately slammed into the wall with the Mega Gnar wall-up combo, the boulder toss hitting too. And Kobe, my mind is now immediately looking towards this CS difference here in the top lane, the 20 farm advantage for Thanatos. Of course, some of that is going to get made up. There are more creeps alive for Impact to farm, but it's not nearly 20 more. And like I said earlier, Yorick is a champion who must be able to excel, to thrive in a 1v1.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. We gave stats over the average of the previous 7 games between these teams, and top was not the biggest goal diff, but this game it is technically over bottom lane, which is the actual other way.
Yeah, that one.
As of right now, at least.
But we still have no kills on the board just yet. Junglers are about to hit level 6. You can see HamBak already there. Blaber needs to kill just one more minion, one more monster. Maybe just do the casual lane drive-by, steal a little bit of EXP if you want to get a Grand Starfall real fast. But you can see Blaber is down there on that bottom part of the map. Does have the ulti available with the Pantheon now. And we always check in with these semi-global ultimate junglers. The first ulti's got to deliver. It needs to be a paycheck. So if you're looking to get paid here as Blaber, what's the lane you're targeting with this?
I mean, you usually want to go over the ones that are more volatile or don't have their flashes. But since everybody has their flashes, you can try and abuse either melee on melee or melee on range. And both the Galio and the Yorick, of course, should be more vulnerable. And you can try and see if there's anything there. But I'd also say Vulcan on the Bard as his Bard ultimate. So you try and blow somebody's flash early with a Bard ultimate, then they are super vulnerable to a Pantheon follow-up, or even both go at the same time. So you have a lot of options. Top jungle right now is getting a lot of pings through the river, and they're trying to fish around, but nobody actually going into full combat mode here. The big thing, Flowers, we waited that whole 5-minute timer window of APA and Zven's flashes being down, and there was no follow-up, no punishment there. So Cloud9 pretty happy about that. And they've got their little tiny bit of a gold lead overall due to CS differences. And they've got their flashes back on their carries. And Blaber trying to get at least one grub. Uses the smite here for that one.
Okay, but he still wants to fight for a little bit more. HamBak does have the 1-level advantage. 1-to-1 on the grubs now. Reinforcements for both sides moving forward, but these are season 2026 grubs, Kobe. These things aren't worth sacrificing a lot for, but Vulcan doesn't have to sacrifice anything. He throws in a single auto attack, hits him with the Timo Burger emote, and walks away with a 2-to-1 grub lead.
I feel like Bard's #1 job in every game is to be as annoying as possible.
A troll.
You got to create some weird stuff. You got to be trolling the enemy team. Sometimes you got to troll your own team a little bit too.
Just a little.
And so when you see them finishing the grubs, everyone else, wait a second.
Ooh, nice shot there with the arrow all the way down in the bottom lane. Rahel's got the aim, and the follow-up is there for the rest of Sentinels. It's first blood for HamBak.
So that's one where you hit the the death recap, and it says time of CC 10 years.
Yeah. 2025. Okay.
Since the arrow hit, he has not been able to move, and still during the death timer can't move his character. So APA hasn't been able to put in a move command into his Orianna character for the last 20 seconds, maybe.
It's been a long time.
With the arrow into the Seraphine ult into the death timer. Let's take a look. All right, from downtown, it's Rahel, and then it's huhi with the follow-up. Well, actually, it's DARKWINGS follow-up first into taunt, and then the layering into the charm as well. So
yeah.
That's some gameplay right there. You having fun, APA?
You know,
Looks like I'm CC'd.
Yep, that's pretty much what it was. You're CC'd and then you don't have anything else to do. But you know what I actually think? This was even higher IQ setup from Sentinels than we imagined, because you saw where the lane was right there. That's the typing pocket. APA was at the point where normally you would type something to your team because you're just waiting for the other guy to shove the wave up. So Rahel's like, okay, he's surely just typing now, standing between the terrains. Boom, threads it perfect.
Dude, that's some next level prep. You prep on APA. Okay, so this guy, he usually types on 7th wave at this time. Back in the typing pocket. If you do a heat map of his positioning, usually going for a little bit of a keyboard move at the moment.
Right, he's like one flash away from his turret, so in case he gets caught, he can try to flash back, but not if we hit him with an arrow.
After the 3rd cannon wave, he's going to go for a line. All right, let's go look at the dragon here, though. HamBak and the rest of Sentinels, I think they've got this one under wraps, because guess what? Blaber's on the top side of the map.
Yep,
they chickens.
Took the first one already, so this is Drake #2 for the Sentinels side. Gonna feel good about the way the neutrals are going so far. Yes, they did end up losing the 2nd grub to the silly Bard auto attack, but you're still 1 grub versus 2, 2 dragons versus 0. Feels really nice. Still another 4 minutes on the clock until the Rift Herald spawns, so maybe now we'll get a little bit more PvP.
So you're telling me if it wasn't, well, if it wasn't for the sneaky little... Wait a second.
Oh boy,
might have a little bit of pain.
We might have a sneaky little Thanatos solo kill up here in the top side, but no, Impact, he can fight back, throws the ghouls after him. Gnar is pretty effective in Mega Gnar form, though, just killing all the ghouls at once by boulder tossing onto them. So Impact's still going to find himself worse for wear in this trade. Gold difference 500 now, favoring Thanatos, as he still has about that 3-wave lead that, once again, is going to get shranked as Impact farms the wave.
Yeah, he's got a few more there to catch up, but still is going to be in for a bit of pain. But the rest of the map is going quite well for Sentinels.
Yeah.
And the rest of the objectives, especially these dragon stacking highlight that we had from Champ Select for this Sentinels draft, is critical and doing a very good job thus far. The AShe Seraphine synergy, that CC combo, will be on display again. Especially, you know, you have Jarvan Jarvan Cataclysm.
APA walking towards the brush, finds the Galio and the Jarvan together, waiting defensive Tempered Fate from Vulcan, tries to save his mid laner. The arrow timing isn't there on that one, and APA gets away.
Whoo, he does escape with his life. This time around, I thought that was going to be I thought that was going to be lethal on him when he was walking towards this brush. But Vulcan gets him out. Again, Bard, you gotta be creative, Flowers. Defensive ultimate, and then the magical journey. APA didn't even have to flash. So.
Yeah, which is even more impressive, considering how bad it normally feels when you face check a Galio into a Jarvan combo. But they will get him away on that one. APA still working towards getting that first completed item. You are seeing those come online in multiple different places, and I think the biggest discrepancy is still going to be up there in top side. Trinity Force, one of the more expensive first items to complete, but also one of the strongest individual power spikes. That's already done for Thanatos, while Impact still only has pieces because he had to stop off for the plated steel caps.
Exactly. He knows, like, you take too much damage, too many autos, so you're going to have to go for plated steel caps, and you don't want to rush. Race the Gnar in getting your Trinity Force anyways. So you need the extra defense here and just focus on your sustain. Yorick has an incredible amount of sustain, actually, which is one of the kind of overlooked things about the champ. And we'll see about the rotations over, though, because support roam timer here is matched for once. Vulcan picked up the red buff, though. So Bard can be extra annoying.
Extra annoying, but he also picked up Mikhail's as his first item here on support. So now he can be annoying offensively and defensively, being able to save teammates from those cross-map arrows, as HamBak wants the engage on Vulcan, but he goes on a magical journey right back to safety over the wall. Again, no summoner spells needed, no Mikhail's needed, still half HP on the Bard.
Yeah, the fight over the vision coverage here through the brush by mid lane, pretty hectic. In the end, yeah, you get a little chunk on the Bard, so he did at least get a decent chunk there. Clear out the vision. Sentinels, honestly, I think they're really checking a lot of the boxes, even though Cloud9 have been very successful versus this team so far this year. I kind of like the controlled game that I'm seeing from Sentinels early on here. They keep their dragon stacking, you know, they fight the important fights for their vision coverage. You know, the CC chain that they displayed in the mid lane kill on APA was good, although maybe it could have been a little heavier punish towards the river play that they had.
Well, speaking of the river, one of the first big tests is coming up. The Rift Herald is about to spawn. So now my question is, okay, Sentinels can pass the laning phase of the test. Can they pass the hands check? Can they pass the team? It's like a driver's exam. You can memorize all the written part just fine, but if you wreck the car into the ditch as soon as you start driving it, it doesn't matter that you know what all the signs mean.
Yeah.
So they gotta pass this part.
That is an indicator for the test giver. He's like, well, really good test scores, but you crashed the car.
Yeah, the car doesn't work anymore. So
sorry, but I am gonna have to fail you. Okay, bot dive though.
Okay.
And top.
Impact trying to escape the Grand Starfall. Blaber wants to commit underneath the tier 2 turret for this one. Has Vulcan behind him, but they don't have the damage to force the kill into Impact. Meanwhile, down here in the bottom lane at the same time, it's Sentinels getting the kill onto Thanatos. Blaber nearly dies with the chase up here on the top side, so Sentinels will now go up 2-0.
Sentinels test is looking immaculate right now, Flowers.
I'm liking it.
They have not crashed. Impact is actually going to teleport back up to the top side. That's your weak side king right there, Flowers.
Yeah, he absorbed the pressure. He got out safe, got right back to farming. That's exactly what I want. A+, 100%. Well done.
And they get the third dragon. Soul point at only 16 minutes here for Sentinels. Impact is under attack again.
Okay, Impact probably not expecting him to still have all three of these guys up here. Tempered Fate to make sure Blaber doesn't end up trading himself away for this one 1-for-1. And Impact does fall. C9 finally going to get their first kill of the game. It does go over to Vulcan, unfortunately. Much rather would have had that on one of the two solo laners, but this will open up some time for APA to put some auto attacks into the tier 1. But DARKWINGS is here in time to prevent it from falling just yet.
And he finally goes down. Honestly, I feel like that does happen a lot where you're like, finally, I get some time to eat up.
Yeah.
Some time to breathe. And ends up going down in the follow-up play there as they had rotated APA over to the top lane. But regardless, the plan is still going well for Sentinels. The 3 dragons, they're looking at stacking, and they get to bring the AShe Seraphine over pretty early, actually going for a jungle invade.
Yeah, they want Blaber here. He uses his jump to get back over to huhi's position, but there's the Encore committed. 2-man Shockwave, though. HamBak ends up getting himself locked up now, as Sentinels are committing a lot of men to this, but they got to be careful. HamBak's already about to die. He tries to flash away, but it's Vulcan's Bard again, the hero, securing the kill, as huhi now has to try to get all the way out, but DARKWINGS may just be the sacrificial gargoyle. One more hit's gonna do it, and APA gets paid. Kobe, I don't know if the car is still on the road.
They tried to drive through the jungle, and it was a lot of uncertain territory there, a lot of pitfalls. They end up scratching it at least. A lot of gold back for Cloud9. Still could go fine for the next dragon fight, but that definitely was a big bump in the road because they use a lot there and kind of, you know, Galio trade as they're going for Orianna ultimate on the side of Cloud9. They get a good shockwave combo, and Vulcan actually can finish the kill onto HamBak as he was trying to escape and flashed away. So Cloud9, not only do they get some good gold, but no flash on the enemy jungler could help a lot for the Dragon Soul fight. But here's another look at it, and APA gets there. Look at that. Just as he's getting charmed, he got his shockwave off, and they get the Galio kind of trade of ultimates. And then HamBak, because it had previously landed, was so low that they're able to finish him off there with the Bard and then go for the chase down for the extra gold.
Yeah, DARKWINGS, he didn't end up hitting a single target with his heroic entrance.
Nice, guys. Really good.
And it was really good because then Galio's just standing there and all he does is serve as a totem pole for his teammate to get tethered to from the Cosmic Binding. So just really well played from C9 and overforced by Sentinels. They are still at soul point, like you've mentioned. It's only a 1,000 gold lead for C9, but when you're coming up on these neutral fights, you don't want your opponents to feel confident taking a fight in neutral territory. You don't want them to feel confident walking into the river first to secure priority. But speaking of securing something, Vulcan now takes the lead in the battle for the second second most assists of all time in the LCS.
Of all time,
Of all time.
Holy. Oh, I have to keep track of that because the other people right next to him in the standings are both in this game. Honestly,
well, they're going to have to keep up.
They are going to have to keep up. We'll see if it changes hands further. Impact and Vulcan, very, very close there. But, okay, we've all been waiting for this dragon.
Yes.
1 minute and 37 seconds ahead of time here. Everybody is looking like we've got, decent conditions to fight it. No flash on the Jarvan or the Galio here for Sentinels, but as well, no flash for Blaber. So we'll have to see about the positioning on the setup. Good wards early for Sentinels. Whenever you get the first round of wards, this helps you both see the ward placements for your opponents and also give you really good early opportunities for bits of pick. Impact is actually staying up on that top side at the moment because he has his teleport and gonna push out one more wave. I wonder if he can find anything meaningful. Probably not, just a couple more components here before the actual dragon fight, but everybody's prepping, everybody's kind of tippy toes right now, just waiting for it, and he does at least finish his tunneler. That's just a good amount of juicy stats. It's not like anything game breaking, but it's a solid component.
Sometimes you just need a ball of stats item, right? It's health and damage. You're never going to be sad about having more health and more damage, but you will be sad if you lose your momentum here in the mid game and fail to secure this dragon soul. So that's why Sentinels are first to the bottom side river, clearing out the vision, placing down their own control wards, and trying to make sure that they're the ones who get to pick the fight against C9 for this objective.
Okay, the other thing to watch, because Cloud9 don't have a lot of options for face checking, is the Gnar bar, and Thanatos just went Mega, so after you go Mega, you get exhausted for a while and you can't gain Mega energy, so it's gonna be a little bit dicey here. Like, their face check is very dangerous into Sentinel's ball comp here, and the Gnar is gonna be mini teleporting in.
Okay, C9 no though. It's Sentinels with control over the river. They're trying to start this off. Immediately Blaber driving the Herald into everybody, but it gets smited down to stop its rampage. Tempered Fate only finds a single target. Sentinels trying to keep their line strong as Impact's going to distract everybody on C9 off to the side. Heroic entrance, making sure the Yorick does not fall. Dragon still at about 50% HP. A lot of damage onto Impact, but not enough to kill him yet again. Blaber ready to try to re-enter into the fight here with a Cosmic Starfall as Impact is still low, still targeted. Sentinels trying to guarantee the protection there, and DARKWINGS gets the kill into Blaber. Now C9's got to be careful. They need to fall back as DARKWINGS charges forward. Taunt onto Thanatos, but they can't kill him off. Control over the Drake still for Sentinels. A little bit more damage will do it, but once it ends up going over to APA's Orianna.
The hell? Okay, is this thing bugged? I see a... No, there's the smite is on cooldown, dude. Wait, that thing... The smite is... Let me go back and figure out who he smited. Hold on, we did all that work, Flowers, all that work for a Dragon Soul, and they thought they had won it. I thought they had won it, and there was like a Leandri's Blackfire burn on this dragon. So where's his...
He smites the Herald here.
Ooh, okay, to get Blaber out of it.
Yeah.
And he only had the one charge.
Yeah, it looks like the way the cooldown's moving, it might just only be the one.
Maybe he thought he had another one stacked up, but... So they thought they were going to get a big play off of killing that Herald and then killing Blaber there. But then the rest of this fight, as Blaber ults into the back, they were trying to play off Thanatos Mega Gnar, but he only ulted Rahel back, and then he had to back off as he was expiring back to mini. So Blaber's the one that has to die, even though, he flashes over the wall. But then, like, APA, that Q there, he put the Orianna ball on the dragon, so it's burning. And then, does he W?
That's my guess. Yeah, he just W's it for 200 damage.
Dude, nice snipe there. Very nice snipe.
We're winning this.
That was a focus replay.
Oh, and now we're right on back. Thanatos caught up here in a little bit of a compromised spot. Rahel's going to get the first kill on him as Vulcan goes on a magical journey trying to get away, but DARKWINGS gives chase. Probably won't be able to finish the kill on the Bard here, but right back to live, and C9 have lost their top laner.
I kind of want to hear comms from the other side to see if Sentinels saw that ball. Because he placed the ball pretty early by the dragon, maybe because you want to burst. It's still going to be hard to burst it, but the comms around, oh, I don't have a smite, like, don't rush no more damage on this dragon, please. The ball is there. Like, maybe they didn't see see.
I mean, HamBak did try to combo kill it at the end because you saw the flag land and he was in the animation to thrust the spear forward for the Dragon Strike. Yeah. But now it's Impact under pressure yet again. Blaber wants to commit the Pantheon ultimate. APA and Vulcan just need to lock this guy up. Impact knows there's no way out, so he's going to try to take somebody with him, but 1v3 is pretty tough odds, so not going to happen. APA picks up another.
Flowers, if they end up losing this game because of not like, they are really going to regret not like stopping damage on the Dragon and pushing APA away. Because
yeah, that's big.
I'm going back on and looking at right now. Like they still had like over 1,000 health on the Dragon to work with and time to like push APA further away. But they didn't do it. APA stuck around. He sniped the steal, and so that at least puts a stop to it there.
And the Dragon has 76 MR at this point in the game, so he takes about 40% reduced magic damage. Command Dissonance does a little less than 400. Based on the AP that APA has. So he literally had to time it as low as he did because it barely does more than 200 damage to the Dragon.
Yeah.
So that is crazy good timing there from APA, and honestly a really tragic blunder from Sentinels.
Public service announcement. You have to be very, very careful when you do not have your smite and you have just one full control over the objective. They had basically pushed all of Cloud9 except APA all the way back to mid lane and out of the Dragon. But yeah, obviously everyone's going to be reviewing that play because it's critical. Maybe that's not actually the turning point and Sentinels can still come back and they have another chance to get a Dragon Soul in another minute heading up here. But that will be a critical point for Cloud9 because now, you know, they're the ones, they've retaken the gold lead, and here we go, Blaber.
Yeah, huhi's in a lot of trouble. They're going to go ahead and just use the shockwave to seal the deal, and now HamBak gets caught by the Tempered Fate. Vulcan's Bard is doing so much work in this first game, and with HamBak about to fall, this is just tragedy for Sentinels. That's the enemy jungler alongside their big team fighting support. Out of the picture, Kobe. Baron's on the map.
Yeah, I think it's Baron Flowers. They're going to go right over to it. It's just crazy. Cloud9. Holy, they have taken full control now. The Sentinels car did indeed, in the end, they actually crashed it into the ditch.
Yeah, it's a problem, man. The ball was in the middle of the road and they had to swerve. It's just not a good time. And there goes Baron to the C9 side. And look at the timer, too. There's still 15 seconds till the Drake spawns. They can take Baron-empowered recall and get back out onto the map.
Okay, Sentinels, they still have some hope, though. They're teleporting Impact over there. They want to get to the space early. I don't think they'll be able to have time to pick anyone because they don't have a lot of damage here. It's just Rahel, Impact, and huhi. So Cloud9 are going to have 5 members here first. They're going to get full vision coverage. They can get the Scuttle Crab Bloom as well.
Okay, there it is. Yeah, the Jhin with Infinity Edge final shot really just completely destroys the poor little crab. So Sentinels now, you've got to get this Dragon Soul here. After the last sequence, you're going to be too far behind if C9 stop it yet again. So Sentinels squared up. DARKWINGS is not with the rest of the team. He's ready to try to make his heroic entrance, but Vulcan's tagging him at the same time, just keeping the Galio away. Thanatos with the Gnar bar, 80% charge, looking for the opportunity to jump in here on the flank, while the rest of C9 has control over the objective itself. Thanatos now, full Gnar bar. Transforms with the wallop, does not find the target in Impact. Tempered Fate also going to miss. HamBak versus Blaber here for the 50-50 flip, but it goes over to Blaber. And now Sentinel's got to be careful because they already got caught by the shockwave. Blaber follows it up, and Rahel is first to die. Impact will not escape Thanatos this time, and the Sentinels have to flee for the hills. There's no chance left. APA on a rampage, and the curtain call opens up. First 2 shots hit, the last ones don't need to because Thanatos is ready for the follow-up with Blaber right beside him. The Dragon Soul denied and 4 Sentinels died. C9 got exactly what they wanted from that fight.
I will say it's always hard to outsmite a Pantheon because you can stack up the Q and you can Q smite, but also look at APA's Shockwave. It's unfortunate we don't have the Dragon health, but APA shockwaves them. Look at that right there over the wall. APA was hiding in the pit. There's a ward there from Sentinels that can see, but he still hits a great shockwave on them as the Dragon is getting low. And then, of course, Pantheon Secure is one of the best in the game with Q Smite, but it is all Cloud9 now. And really, Flowers, I guess you're probably debating probably APA player of the game just for all this dragon control, or Bard. Maybe Vulcan. Is he up in there?
Like, Vulcan is honestly has been my front runner for everything up until the Orianna ball. Because the Orianna ball was just like the biggest individual moment in the game, I feel like it probably makes him take priority.
Interesting, yeah.
But like, it's like you're in school. Vulcan has been getting low A's or high B's on literally everything.
He does the homework every single day.
But then APA for the big test that's worth half your grade, he just got 100% on it, right?
He did.
So he might end up being the class valedictorian. I don't know. But so far, both of them are having a really good show in this first game. Vulcan's still deathless. Zven's still deathless. We were talking about pressure being put onto these immobile carries. It just hasn't happened. Arrow does land now onto Blaber, but that's a Pantheon that already has a Guardian Angel. Tempered Fate keeping him protected in the meantime. Blaber lost 20% HP in that whole potential engage. Now the C9 Cavalry arrives. Blaber jumps in to try to lock up DARKWINGS here for a little bit. Curtain call shots finding HamBak again and again. Enemy frontline chunked down to about half HP there on that Jarvan as C9 retake control over the mid lane. No deaths on either side.
And they killed the Maiden. The only casualty is Impact's wife.
R.I.P.
The Maiden down. Also, your bot tower might be another casualty here. Sentinels trying to roam back over, though. They're trying to get through the jungle. Cloud9 have double teleported.
Okay, C9. How are we going to play this? Maybe we're just going to play it by killing the enemy AD carry at the very start of the fight. Deadly Flourish forces the flash. DARKWINGS makes a heroic entrance to try to save his carry's life, but it costs his own. Thanatos with the killing spree credit on that one as he jumps forward, and they aren't going to settle with just the one kill. DARKWINGS and HamBak both down for the next 45 seconds. C9 already grouped up as 5. They can keep it mid. They can rotate bot for a double-pronged attack if they like, but I expect they'll probably just try to end it here.
Yep, inside the base, this tower doesn't stand a chance, and I don't think Sentinels do either. Another 30 seconds still on HamBak and DARKWINGS.
Yep, C9 are gonna go for the end, and it's gotta be some huge miracle defense here. I feel like a Seraphine ulti that hits less than 5 people is 0% chance. Maybe we'll get something absolutely crazy here. The minion wave is a little bit thinned out. C9 are going to continue stepping forward. First Nexus turret about to fall, but still hanging on for now. Thanatos transforming into the Mega Gnar any moment now. Second Nexus turret now the target. Minions still going to move their way up there. Okay, yeah, the minions weren't able to survive long enough. The wave clear from Sentinels was strong enough to hold the line.
Okay, Sentinels get another chance at their driving test. But now they're 10,000 gold down.
Yeah, now you're driving a car with 3 wheels.
Okay, let's back. Yeah, don't rush. It's okay.
Yeah, they know, now they have all the time in the world.
Yeah.
With 10,000 gold, that buys you a lot of luxuries in life, Flowers.
Like a 4-item jhin with 100% crit chance?
Yeah, and APA's got even stuff that money can't buy you, like a stacked up Medjai's of 16 pages.
Money can buy a lot of things, but not a book.
Exactly. You got to write that book yourself.
Yeah.
APA wrote in it on page number 1, it was steal the,
Yup, place the ball, steal the dragon. Tempered Fate to APA to prevent any further follow-up from Sentinels. He's going to continue disengaging. HamBak wanted to wrap around on the side of the fight, but instead immediately finds Blaber ready to mark him. Zven ready to execute him. Thanatos leads the charge forward, and Rahel is again finding himself killed at the very onset of the fight. Vulcan with a killing spree. Impact wants to get a single one back onto Zven, but he can't even do it. Triple kill for the jhin. An ace for C9. They don't lose a single man, and they'll march this one straight to the Nexus.
C9 looking pretty fine here on the weekend, Flowers.
It's once again just that classic test that C9 always makes sure Sentinels fails. Sentinels had such a good early game. They overextend once. C9 outfights them in the team fight, takes control, finds their vengeance through an incredible Orianna ball to steal a dragon. And what a performance, particularly from Vulcan and APA. I think it's pretty hard to pick who's the actual player of the game in that one. I got to give mine to APA for the dragon steal. Lounge, what are you guys thinking?
That's the same debate we were having.
It's true.
It was between those two, same page.
It's a losing debate for you two. It's definitely APA. You guys are driving another narrative.
Raz, what were you saying?